Hey guys, in today's episode, we are on our last week before the playoff push, and we talk some real or fake takes.
Welcome to the Coach and Commish podcast. No, not Adam Gase, and definitely not Roger Goodell. It's Chris and Sean breaking down fantasy football for the everyday man.
Welcome back. You're here with the Coach and Commish. Sean, to my right, I'm Chris. And Sean, we're at week 14. Most leagues, playoff starts next week, week 15, right?
Yeah, if you were smart enough to look forward and see that bye week, I hope that you started your playoffs the following week, because the bye week during a playoff is just not a fun thing.
That should be like an automatic change it up. If you're in a league and the guy and the commish forgot about the extra bye week, just change it. It does everyone good to do that.
Yeah, and just shout out to the NFL. Change that. Why are we getting bye weeks in week 14?
Right.
We're going to make guys play 13 games before they can get a bye week.
It's the worst.
That's
bump it. Make it early in the season. We can't.
Yeah, I think by week 11 should be the last one, and even then it's still late.
Yeah, and think about fantasy, Roger.
Just take a week off. They can't lose a week of money, but seriously, take a week off, and then everybody comes back, right?
Roger Goodell. Think about fantasy owners. We can't deal with this. All right, we're going to start off here. I got some takes here. We've been changing up each week, and I'm going to throw out about 5 statements here, and the commissioner's going to tell me, is it a real or fake statement in his opinion. So I'm going to start off with a name that we haven't spoken about very much in fantasy, but let's go to Philadelphia. And Miles Sanders is back to relevancy with 120 yards rushing against the Jets. But is he finally back? Can we trust him? Is that real or is that fake?
So it's a little difficult to judge this one because he did leave with he re-injured that ankle injury. Mm-hmm. So if he's fully healthy, then I think this is real, not fake. But because of the injury, I'm going to say fake. Even if he's back, it's an ankle. It scares me enough to wear.
I was hearing a little questionable, so I was hoping he, it's just something. Tape it up heavy, throw him back in.
I mean, you may be in a position where you have to start him, but I'm going to try to avoid it, even if he says, even to get some practices in that ankle, unless they're saying, there's no designation or anything, I'm probably staying away.
Okay.
And all right. They're on bye this week, so don't worry about it.
No. All right, real or fake, T. Higgins is better rest of season over Jamar Chase.
Whew. So this is a little tougher. I want to say T. Higgins just because I really do think that he's playing better than Jamar Chase right now. We saw that interception that just really hurt their team.
Oh,
I wonder
the bobble.
Puts that in the back of Burrow's mind now when he's throwing to Chase. But I'm still going to go with Chase. The upside is too much. I do like that. I do like them both rest of season. I think you can start both guys now. But Jamar Chase has just got that potential for huge games that I can't put him on my bench.
And Chase is helping out Higgins a lot. Yeah. He's getting all the respect, all the extra coverage going there. So T. Higgins is taking advantage. So you remember mid-season, there was a lot of trade offers, and Sean and I are in a combined 20 leagues here. A lot of trade offers with T. Higgins in there. And we were like, I don't really want to do it. But now if you were able to get him.
Like this guy.
Like that guy and me saying, no, I don't like it. It's paying off if you got T. Higgins.
Yeah, the man had 14 targets last week. I mean, you can't do any better than that.
No, you can't. All right, this one's for you, my bud. Miami Dolphins are a playoff team, real or fake?
So this is fake. I'll say right off the bat that there's no way they make the play. I mean, there's not no way, but I think they win. They have 4 games left, I think. And I think they win at best 3 out of the 4, which would give them a chance. Mm-hmm. But realistically, I think they probably go 2-2 for the next couple. They're playing good football. It comes down to you can't start the season 1-7. Yeah. If you win one more of those games, you have a shot.
It's just like reverse psychology. You're saying no now, so the football guys will give it to you.
I'm always gonna bet against the Dolphins. So
all right, here's an unpopular one. If you're not in the fantasy world, but Tony Pollard right now is the Cowboys RB1.
This is a difficult one because if I was managing that team, I would be for sure putting Pollard in more than Zeke. They need to just rest Zeke at this point.
It just doesn't look right.
Pollard, and Pollard has looked fantastic. Why not give Zeke 2 weeks off? and just roll with Pollard for a few weeks, get the man healthy. Because there was one run there that you saw that it just at first I saw it and I was like, he looks old, and then I was like, wait a second, he's dealing with this knee injury. That's got to be what it is. I mean, he just looks bad.
A lot of guys on Twitter, our boy Leroy, shout out to Leroy, he made the joke out there, saying Jerry Jones said, no, I'm paying you this much money, you're going to go out there and play. But it almost is believable when I started seeing commentators say the same things. It makes no sense.
I think that's what it is. I think they're just going to continue. I mean, and they built the identity of Zeke around this team to where I just think that Jerry Jones thinks they need him in there all the time. So it makes it difficult for fantasy owners because I think the team is going to continue to give Zeke more of the opportunities. But if you're, gun to head, I have to decide rest of season who I'm putting in. I like the stack because I think they're both going to be usable. You're going to get fantastic points out of that position. You just don't know who it's going to be. But if I have to, I would probably roll Pollard rest of season if I had to. I think that he's got the juice, and eventually they're going to have to realize that they need him on the field more if they want to have, that upside.
I like that spicy take there. It's real. Here's one. Big Ben, he came out saying this is his last season playing for the Steelers. The way he said it makes you think Big Ben will play next season with another team.
Oh.
Real or fake?
I don't think so. I don't think there's another team that would even touch him as a starter, and why would he come back as a backup?
It's just a weird way that statement came out from him or his agent last season with the Steelers. I'm like, I know you never want to close any door, but you have to understand, Ben, the way you've been playing, go out on top.
Yeah.
This one's already hurting a little bit. Just watching a future Hall of Famer struggle this bad.
Yeah.
All right, so from our real and fake takes here, we're going to our party question of the week.
Ian, would you like to go to a party in my pants?
No, Brick.
All right, let's go.
All right, so this week our party question, we're doing some time traveling. I feel like we need to travel back or travel forward in time. So, would you rather travel in the past to meet your ancestors or to the future to meet your great-great-great-grandchildren?
All right, well, I'll go first because I think this is an easy answer. I think he might have just gone opposite of me. Just so
I had to just go opposite, yeah.
The future. I mean, why would you forget about my grandkids or ancestors? I'm in the future. I want to see the future. I want to see, what's going on. I would like to go to the future. Plus, I think it would be cool to you could be the one who has the can tell all the stories to your great-great-grandchildren that are in the future.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not that huge as a history buff, so I don't care that much to be like, okay, what's going on with my ancestors?
It'd be nice to kind of track, this guy's related to me. Like, if I had someone famous in my family line, it'd be kind of cool. I'm like, dude, that's kind of awesome. Abraham Lincoln. I'm just throwing a name out there.
But then you could be the expert, too. You could come back and just be this all-knowing, this is what's going to happen.
It's was it Hot Tub Time Machine where the guy restarts
I didn't
Google?
see that movie.
Yeah, the guy starts Google, calls it something else. Back to the Future, that one guy comes back and he's betting on all the sports games.
Yep,
Biff. So, I could do that. Well, problem is then I can't watch the game and enjoy it because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless I'm making money on it. So that's why we don't care about our ancestors or our future great-great-grandchildren.
It's about where we're traveling.
Where we're traveling to, making money, or seeing all the cool things in the future. All right, so our party question to the turntables this week.
Well. How the turntables?
All right, so our turntables, Sean and I both chose running backs here. A blast from the past is doing really well, and a guy that was disappointing. So, Sean, who's your turntable pick of the week?
Yeah, so just a reminder, our turntable is a guy who's either on your bench, needs to get graduated, we're helping you make that decision, or it's somebody who's been playable like a Zeke, and maybe it's time to consider some benchings. I think we're both going with a positive one here, and I didn't think I'd be saying this, but Devonta Freeman, this is our blast from the past, as Chris said.
Yes.
The man is relevant, and thanks fantasy footballers, but I heard a stat that they said since week 6, he's RB5, which is
ridiculous.
Yeah, unfathomable. I can't even believe that he's climbed that high. What it is this rushing attack works. It doesn't matter what running back you put back there. When you have Lamar Jackson as a threat and you run that RPO, you're going to have success as a running back. And the offense has played a little better, so they're even in position to get touchdowns. in receiving touchdowns. They've always had a lot of receiving touchdowns out of that backfield. So he is the guy. There was fear that, Latavius Murray was going to come back and regain his role, but I think the team has just liked what they've seen from Devonta Freeman, and they're okay with continuing to roll with him. So I'm starting him weekly. Cleveland this week is not a great matchup, but I'm putting him in. I mean, I talked about it with Morgan, and I thought the man was crazy to say, I've got my guy in Devonta Freeman, but I think he does.
It's so weird saying his name again.
Yeah.
The way he is putting numbers up, you think he's still in Atlanta. And running back's such a short shelf life. So seeing him bounce back is pretty amazing. I'm picking someone that is probably in your starting lineup, but reluctantly before a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, this was my turntable to bench. So
Yeah, so coming back, and I think you guys have already got him, but Antonio Gibson, we got to give you your props, man. You are finally the running back we can finally trust again.
just needed J.D. McKissick to go down.
That had to go down, and then now he's getting the touches. And that's what a terrible injury. Shout out to McKissick. We're praying for you, buddy. But as fantasy owners, when you got Gibson, you can start him with confidence because now we've seen it now. Washington's had the lead a lot here lately, so he's been in the game plan. But going against divisional opponents almost back-to-back-to-back, Dallas and Philly here the next 4 weeks. I literally think that's just how it's swapping around if I look at their schedule. He's gonna be game planned in, and he's gonna get you right now. He's getting 20-point games, depending on what format you have here, week 12 and 13. They haven't been like great opponents, but he had 20 against Tampa Bay in half PPR formats, just above 10 against Carolina, but they didn't really need him there. So he is a trusted RB2. He's not that RB1 we all hoped for. But
so going forward, how do you view him? Do you view him as he could be that RB1 for your team? Because I think if we're saying a turntables thing, that's kind of where we need to be with it. I mean, obviously people are starting Antonio Gibson. They probably never stopped. But
yeah, he'll give you the RB1 numbers. He could be rest of season finding himself in that 12 to 8 range for running backs, just because that's where the offense is going in Washington. Because McKissick stole a lot of touches and a lot of catches away from Gibson, so he's going to gather those, and he's not going to be surprising 12 RB8 to RB12, but he's going to get back to that respectability. And some owners have traded in a way of trying to keep Gibson on the bench until he broke out. But now you can just, don't start the Jets running back over Gibson. Now you can put Gibson back up there.
Let's put it to our two turntables here. Are you starting Devonta Freeman or Antonio Gibson rest of the season?
Oh, snap. Oh, I love Freeman better.
Okay. It's funny because we have each other's. I think he's a locked-in top 10. I would start Gibson rest of the season. So
Bolden's good.
They're both going to be top 15 guys, I think, for you going forward.
Yeah. All righty, from there, we've got some extra starts and sits. More advice here in the last week for playoffs. Sean, I'm going to let you bring up this name because this is an interesting one. Good matchup, but there could be some uncertainty on this player side.
Yeah, so I'm going with DJ Moore. He's had a real up and down season. He started on fire. We thought, here it is, the breakout for DJ Moore. Then Sam Darnold went south, and so did DJ Moore's season as a fantasy. He was kind of left for dead, and then Cam somewhat revived that. Last week, he had one big play, I think, that really padded his stats, but it's not been great with Cam back. And then you've got Cam getting benched, so I know that's scaring a lot of people. But this week specifically, against Atlanta, I think he's just a smash play. Like, I'm talking a top 15 guy that I'm excited to put into my lineup.
Yeah.
Probably right on the cusp of that. I'm not saying, he's going to be a top 10, but I think he's got a really good shot of being, at least that high-end wide receiver 2 for you.
Okay. I like that.
And actually, I like to always test ourselves against these questions. So let me read off a few guys who I'm willing to start DJ Moore over. So if I've got like a Marquise Brown, middle of the season, you're probably hands down putting in Brown, but I'm going with DJ Moore at this point. Elijah Moore, he's been a great, fantastic breakout campaign. He's the kind of the new hotness, but I'm still going DJ Moore over someone like him. And even like an Amari Cooper who's coming back from that,
Ooh.
I'm still a little scared to play him based on his sickness. But yeah, I probably would feel a little safer, just specifically this week with a DJ Moore.
Okay.
So.
Now, what if you had a respectable? If you're going double tight ends, you put you have DJ Moore in the flex, or you go with a Kyle Pitts Maybe he's a second tight end. Someone like him in the flex. Somebody probably went double tight ends.
Yeah, this week I like DJ Moore. I
Okay.
think the Atlanta matchup is too good, and Pitts is sometimes gives you the stinky Pitts. So
Yeah. What about a Freiermuth? I'm playing some guys and they've got some double tight ends in there. They got Freiermuth in the flex. Would you put DJ Moore over Freiermuth?
yeah, I just like the consistency that you get. I mean, Freiermuth has been a very steady as far as his targets go, so he's kind of a little bit of a difference. But I still like the upside of DJ Moore. Like I said, a top 15 wide receiver this week, I think. So
Yeah. All right. So I'm picking Taysom Hill against the Jets.
should we listen to you?
Probably not. But I looked at him in a lot of my leagues, see if he was available to pick up. He's not. He's rostered somewhere, but sitting on the bench. What we saw last week against Dallas. How can you have 20 fantasy points as a quarterback with 4 interceptions?
Yeah.
100+ yards rushing.
He looked awful, like at times, because of that finger. So if he can do it in that game script and that terrible, pain, then yeah.
This is where we see the Jalen Hurts. Hurts is different because it's the fourth quarter comeback. He's scrambling, making throws. Taysom Hill, it ain't pretty right now, but if you're a streaming QB guy, I think it's safe to play a Taysom Hill. Now, I would ask here, I'm going to ask Sean, so he's more savvy with this, obviously, if we look at our records. But if you look at Thursday night, Kirk Cousins going against the Steelers or Taysom Hill against the Jets, which quarterback would you start? Because those are pretty common streamer names right now.
Well, it's your guy. Who are you starting?
I would go with Cousins.
Okay, I'm
that.
Taysom. I think I agree with your start, and I think you need to start him over guys like that. What about a Russell Wilson who's been struggling? Are you putting Taysom in, or are you?
I'll put Taysom in a minute. I got to see a prove-it game. The name itself of Wilson is fading fast.
And then we'll just group let's just put all the mallet finger guys together. We got Taysom Hill, we got Russell Wilson, and we got Joe Burrow. How are you ranking those guys this week?
I'm going.
You've got Cousins against Pittsburgh, Taysom against the Jets, and then Burrow against San Francisco.
Oh, okay. I'm going Cousins, Hill, Burrow, and Wilson.
Okay.
I'm going that way.
All right, and then let's move on to our sits here. And my sit this week is going to be the Seattle running backs. So they're playing, all of them. All 5 of them.
Five of the guys
is
that were
my
used.
issue, because Alex Collins is supposed to come back here. We saw a good amount of work for Rashad Penny, who actually looked decent. Looks like the goal line back is now AP. Almost had 2 touchdowns this week. Travis Homer is still there getting touches.
He got the yardage.
And then DJ Dallas has kind of, been involved at times this year. So it's an amazing matchup against the Texans, and you want to take advantage of that. But I'm too scared. Like, somebody's going to have a good game, I think. It's not a sit as in, like, at the end of the week, if someone has a good game, I'm wrong. No, it's more like, how do you predict who that player is? Like, if Alex Collins is in, he's probably the one most people are going to, go to start. But I see Adrian Peterson taking end zone touches away. Rashad Penny showed enough. They're probably going to mix him in. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to stay away from it.
No, I agree. And a lot of people are going to do what you said there. They're going to put AP in the flex or RB2 if they're just for the touchdown.
Yeah.
But I can't count on that.
So for some other guys, just to give you kind of the context of who I'm going to start over him, if my page will ever load here. Come on, Internet. I'll let Chris go first here, and then I'll
All right, so we'll go back to that one. This one I'm eating crow on, but it's not the guy's fault. Rashad Bateman against Cleveland. It's a divisional matchup here with a phenomenal pass rush in Cleveland. It's just Myles Garrett by himself. And Lamar Jackson's slump, I think, is going to get worse. So let's not even worry about Lamar Jackson. I think you still have to start him. That's why I didn't choose him. But I was looking at this matchup in particular, and Bateman or Brown are playing second fiddle to all the forced throws to Mark Andrews, and it's been very ugly for Baltimore. They're barely going to limp into the playoffs, I think. But people who were watching Bateman or even Brown and thinking these guys were serviceable lineup guys, not this week. I think Lamar needs to prove it, and this is a very tough Cleveland team when it comes to pressure in the quarterback. So what do you have there for the running back compared to Seattle?
So, guys, I'm looking at that are in kind of the same area, like a Deontay Foreman. I'm rolling with Deontay Foreman over any of these Seattle running backs.
Wow.
Even somebody like a Tevin Coleman, as gross as that is, he's got some work, and I feel more confident in what I'm going to get from Tevin Coleman than I do any of these guys. So that kind of shows you the landscape of
What about a JaMychal Hasty?
If it depends. Obviously, we've got a lot to get worked out there in that backfield. If we've got Jeff Wilson and Elijah Mitchell in front of him. If they're both hurt, he's last guy standing. I'm going JaMychal Hasty all day.
Okay.
But if it's just him and another guy on San Francisco, I'd still probably go JaMychal Hasty in that. I don't want to take the chance with these guys in Seattle. And then for wide receivers, I wanted to go ahead and give you your little test. So you're starting Elijah Moore officially over Rashad Bateman.
Oh yeah, officially.
What about a Brandon Cooks, who had a terrible game last week but has been consistent?
It's Tyrod Taylor being out does not give me good feelings. So I might put a Bateman over Cooks. You expect the volume, but Mills has been hit and miss when he plays quarterback.
And Ayuk, who kind of disappointed with the Debo being out.
He's got better opportunities, but they didn't look his way. But I would probably put Ayuk over him.
All right, so yeah, that kind of shows you that you're probably putting Bateman on the bench until you kind of see Lamar Jackson figure it out. I mean, just a reminder here for this segment, don't listen to Chris because he told everyone to sit David Montgomery last week, and that did not work.
I was good on the starts, but yeah, I missed the sit there really bad.
You guys never gave us our bet that we should do, so I think we're going to do a beer bet.
Just a simple beer bet. It looks like I have an open tab underneath the name Sean.
So actually, we need to come up with a bet this week here. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that we've disagreed on throughout this. What we'll do is we'll post something on our Facebook page. We'll put a bet up there. Once we kind of look over the rankings a little bit more and see if there's some guys that we like specifically.
Okay.
But we'll do probably a player versus another player.
Yep.
We'll go wide receiver this week and see who we kind of like.
Oh, boy. I'm going to run out of money here.
Have the opportunity to get free beers for the next year. So that's it for our podcast here today. I'm taking his line if you want to finish out the send off.
All right, listen to the outro guide. Follow us on social media. Get on that Sunday waiver start sit community. They've been great, and there's nothing else. So we'll see you guys later. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Coach and Commish podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Instagram @Coach and Commish. And join our Facebook group called Fantasy Football Advice with the Coach and Commish for direct access to weekly waiver wire and start sit advice.